Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me right now. Your life is shaped by one thing more than anything else you focus. Where focus goes, energy flows. And the reason so many people feel lost, exhausted, or unfulfilled is because their focus is scattered in 1,000 different directions. They're focused on what other people are doing, what the world thinks of them, what's trending on social media, or what they don't have, instead of what truly matters, themselves. You want to change your life? You want to elevate, to break free, to create something extraordinary. Then it starts with this focus. Focus, focus. Just focus on yourself. Stop giving your energy away to everyone else's opinion. Stop wasting hours comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Stop letting fear and distraction rob you of the life you know you're capable of creating. Because every moment you're looking outward, you're abandoning the power that's inside of you. Your focus is your superpower. Think about it. Whatever you lock in on expands. If you focus on problems, you'll get more problems. If you focus on excuses, you'll get more reasons to stay stuck. But if you focus on solutions, opportunities, growth, and action, suddenly you become unstoppable. Most people are running around chasing everything but themselves. They're focused on pleasing others, proving themselves, trying to live up to some invisible scoreboard that doesn't even matter. But when you pull back, when you take all that energy you've been spilling everywhere else and turn it inward, something shifts. Your mind gets sharper. Your goals get clearer. Your confidence explodes. Listen, if you want a better body, focus on your health. If you want stronger relationships, focus on becoming the kind of person who deserves them. If you want more success, focus on your discipline, your habits, your drive. Everything you want begins with you, not them, not the outside world. You. Distraction is the enemy of destiny. Every notification, every comparison, every unnecessary drama in your life, it's stealing pieces of your future. You've got to shut it down. You've got to decide right now that nothing is more important than your vision, your growth, your purpose. Focus is a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. At first, it's hard. You want to scroll, you want to compare, you want to doubt. But if you demand more of yourself, if you lock in, if you say, no more, I will focus on me, on my path, on my mission, then everything changes. This is the truth. The world doesn't reward distraction. It rewards direction. It rewards the man or woman who chooses to concentrate, to go all in, to channel every ounce of their being toward building, growing, and becoming. That's when breakthroughs happen. That's when people look at you and say, how did they do it? But you'll know it wasn't magic. It wasn't luck. It was focus. So I'm telling you right now, focus, focus, focus. Just focus on yourself. Build you. Strengthen you, sharpen you. Because when you do, you won't just change your own life, you'll inspire others to focus on themselves too. And that ripple, that energy, that fire, it all starts with one thing where you put your focus. When we talk about focus, we are really talking about the engine that drives everything in your life, because where focus goes, energy flows, and most people don't even realize how much of their energy is leaking away every single day. Think about it, every notification, every piece of gossip, every moment you spend obsessing over things that don't actually move you forward, that is energy being siphoned away from your goals, your growth, your life. Focus is not some abstract idea. It is a force. It is the difference between someone who talks about changing their life and someone who actually does it. If you scatter your attention across dozens of meaningless things, then you are scattering your power. But when you pull all of that energy back and aim it at something specific, something that matters, you become unstoppable, because suddenly your time, your effort, your emotion, and your will are all pushing in the same direction. Imagine a magnifying glass. When you hold it up to the sun and keep it steady, all that diffuse light becomes so concentrated it can burn through paper. But the same glass, when constantly shifting and shaking, does nothing but let the light pass through without impact. That's your mind. That's your focus. When you're scattered, you get nothing but small sparks of half results. When you're steady, when you concentrate, you unleash power that can ignite breakthroughs. But most people never give themselves that chance because they are so distracted by the noise of the world, so consumed by the opinions of others, so addicted to instant gratification that they forget the simple truth. If you want results, if you want change, if you want impact, you must control your focus, because your focus determines the quality of your life. Every great achievement in history was built by someone who understood the power of focus. Innovators, leaders, creators, athletes, they didn't get there because they tried to do everything at once, or because they allowed the world to pull their attention in 100 different directions. They got there because they chose to eliminate distractions, to say no to the things that didn't matter, to devote themselves to what did. They understood that mastery is not found in doing everything, but in doing a few things with absolute clarity and intensity. They trained their focus like a muscle, because focus is not something you are born with at a high level. It is something you cultivate. Just like your body grows stronger when you challenge it, your focus grows sharper when you demand it. But if you don't train it, if you allow yourself to live in constant distraction, then you weaken that muscle until it becomes almost impossible to direct it where you need it most. The truth is, most people are living on autopilot. They wake up, grab their phone, scroll through other people's lives, check notifications, get pulled into someone else's drama, and by the time they realize it, half their energy is gone and the day hasn't even begun. Their focus has already been hijacked. And if you allow your focus to be hijacked, your life is being hijacked. You are literally building someone else's dreams while abandoning your own. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who break through is not intelligence, not luck, not talent. It is focus. It is the decision to say, I will not allow my attention to be stolen. I will direct it. I will own it. I will use it as the weapon it is. Because when you truly own your focus, you own your results. Ask yourself, where is your focus going right now? Are you focusing on problems or solutions? Are you focusing on what you can't control or what you can? Are you focusing on what others think of you or on building the life that excites you? Wherever you are today is a reflection of yesterday's focus. If your life feels chaotic, if your results feel small, it's because your focus has been fragmented. Shift your focus and you shift your future. Energy flows to what you give your attention to. If you constantly focus on what's missing, you will feel lack. If you constantly focus on fear, you will feel paralyzed. But if you focus on growth, if you focus on gratitude, if you focus on progress, suddenly your life begins to move in that direction, because the mind is like a GPS. It looks for whatever you program it with. And focus is the way you program it. It takes discipline to master focus in a world designed to break it. Every app, every advertisement, every news headline is fighting for your attention, because attention is the most valuable currency there is. If companies know that your focus is worth billions, why don't you treat your own focus with the same value? Why don't you guard it, protect it, nurture it, and direct it toward your own vision? You must decide that your focus belongs to you, not to the endless demands of the outside world. This means you create rituals that strengthen it. You create environments that support it. You set boundaries with people and habits that drain it. You practice pulling your focus back to what matters when it drifts. You don't let yourself get lost in distractions that feel urgent but mean nothing in the long run. Every time you choose to direct your focus instead of letting it be stolen, you are taking back control of your destiny. And here's the beauty of it. Once you begin to focus, really focus, momentum builds. What once felt difficult becomes natural. What once felt overwhelming becomes clear. When your energy is no longer leaking everywhere, when it is gathered and aimed at something that matters, doors begin to open, progress accelerates, and results compound. It's not magic, it's physics, it's cause and effect. Your life is the sum of what you focus on most consistently. If you want more, then focus more. If you want better, then focus better. Focus is the foundation, the source, the starting point of all transformation. Comparison kills progress. And the reason it kills progress is because it shifts your focus away from your own journey and onto somebody else's path. And the truth is that no matter how hard you work, no matter how much you give, if your eyes are always glued to what another person is doing, you will never see the growth that is happening inside your own life. Every time you scroll through someone else's highlight reel and measure yourself against it, you are weakening your own confidence and diluting your own potential. You forget that what you are seeing is not the whole story. It's a filtered fragment, a polished snapshot that hides the sweat, the tears, the failures, the doubts that person went through to get there. And yet people waste their energy comparing that tiny fragment to their entire life with all its struggles and imperfections. And in doing so, they rob themselves of progress, because instead of building their own foundation brick by brick, they are staring across the fence at what someone else has already built. Comparison is seductive because it gives the illusion that you are measuring yourself, but in reality it is a trap. It keeps you locked in self-doubt. It keeps you chasing validation. It keeps you obsessed with beating someone else instead of becoming the best version of you. When you focus on your journey, you notice the small wins, the little shifts, the moments of growth that compound over time. But when you're fixated on someone else, you miss all of that, and then you wonder why it feels like you're stuck. When the truth is you're not stuck, you're just blind to your own progress because your focus is pointed in the wrong direction. Progress is not a straight line, and it's not something that looks the same for everyone. One person might sprint ahead in one area of life while struggling in another, and you may not see that struggle, but it's there. Your journey is unique. Your timing is unique. Your obstacles are unique. And so your progress must be measured only against the person you were yesterday, never against someone else's today. Think about a runner in a race. The moment that runner starts looking sideways at the other lanes, they lose speed, they break rhythm, they stumble. The fastest runners don't waste time watching competitors. They keep their eyes locked forward on their lane, on their finish line, because they know that the second their focus shifts, their momentum is gone. Life is the same. Every ounce of attention you waste comparing is an ounce of energy that could have been used to grow. Every moment you spend wishing you had what someone else has is a moment you're not investing in creating your own version of success. That's why comparison is such a thief. It steals your joy, it steals your energy, it steals your ability to celebrate how far you've come, and when you lose that, you lose the motivation to keep building. That's why so many people quit, not because they can't make progress, but because they don't see progress, and they don't see it because they're too busy measuring themselves against someone else's scoreboard. And let's be honest, comparison often turns into competition, but not the kind of healthy competition that drives you forward. It becomes toxic competition where your worth is tied to whether you're ahead or behind. That mindset will burn you out because no matter how good you get, there will always be someone faster, stronger, wealthier, more experienced, more polished. If you measure yourself against that, you will always feel like you're losing, and that sense of losing will kill your drive. But if you shift that focus inward, if you start asking, am I better than I was yesterday? Am I growing? Am I learning? Am I building resilience? Then you win every day because progress is happening and you can see it. Progress is not about beating someone else. It's about becoming someone else, a better version of the person you were before. It is so easy in today's world to fall into the trap of comparison because you are constantly bombarded with images of other people's lives, achievements, and possessions. But you have to remember that nobody posts the full picture. Nobody posts the failures, the struggles, the breakdowns, the nights they felt like giving up. What you are comparing yourself to is a mirage, a carefully crafted story designed to look effortless. But behind every highlight reel, there are years of unseen work. When you compare yourself to that, you are fighting against an illusion, and that is a fight you will never win. Instead, you have to make a decision to cut off the noise, to focus so intently on your own path that you stop caring about who is ahead or behind. You have to decide that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on wishing, envying, or resenting. That energy belongs to your growth. Your vision, your mission, the secret to real progress is radical self-focus. It's waking up each day and asking, what can I do today to get closer to where I want to be? And then doing it without looking left or right. It's measuring progress in inches, not miles, because every inch matters when you're building something that lasts. It's celebrating your wins, no matter how small, because those wins are proof that you are moving forward. And most importantly, it's embracing the reality that your timeline is yours alone. Some people bloom early, some bloom late, but every flower that blooms does so in its own season. Comparison kills because it tricks you into thinking your season is wrong, but there is no wrong season. There is only your season, your pace, your path. The moment you stop comparing is the moment you start appreciating, and the moment you start appreciating is the moment you unlock momentum, because gratitude fuels growth, and comparison destroys it. If you want to move forward, you must put blinders on. Just like a horse in a race, you've got to shut out the side views and keep your eyes on your lane. You've got to remind yourself daily that the only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. You've got to reclaim your focus from the endless cycle of measuring yourself against illusions. Because the truth is you already have within you what you need to progress, but comparison blinds you from seeing it. When you stop comparing, you start creating. When you stop competing with everyone else, you start competing with your own limitations, and that is the only competition that matters. The person you are destined to become is waiting on the other side of your own growth, not on the other side of someone else's achievements. Distraction is the enemy of destiny because destiny demands clarity, consistency, and commitment, while distraction feeds on confusion, interruption, and hesitation. Every time you allow yourself to be pulled into something that doesn't matter, you are letting a piece of your future slip through your fingers. The goals you dream about, the vision you hold inside of you, the life you know you're capable of building, none of it can take shape if your attention is constantly being stolen by noise. And the noise is everywhere. It's in your phone, in your environment, in conversations that don't serve you, in habits that waste your time, in the endless cycle of things that feel urgent but are not important. The tragedy is that most people don't even realize how much their destiny is being sabotaged because distraction feels small, harmless, like it's not a big deal to check one more notification, watch one more video, get lost in one more hour of mindless scrolling. But those minutes turn into hours, those hours turn into days, and those days become years where your potential sits untouched because you were too distracted to pursue it. The people who achieve extraordinary things are not necessarily smarter, more talented, or luckier. The difference is that they refuse to let distraction control them. They recognize that destiny does not shout, it whispers. And if you are too distracted, you will never hear it. It is in the still moments, the focused work, the quiet hours of dedication that destiny reveals itself. But distraction drowns out that voice. Distraction keeps you comfortable when you should be growing. It keeps you entertained when you should be building. It keeps you busy when you should be productive. And the enemy of destiny is not failure. It is distraction, because failure at least teaches you, builds you, moves you closer. Distraction teaches you nothing, builds nothing, moves you nowhere. It keeps you in the same place, convincing you that you're engaged with life when in reality, you're standing still. Think about what happens when you are locked in, when you are fully present with your work, your craft, your growth. Hours can pass like minutes. You find yourself in flow, creating, building, learning at a speed you didn't think was possible. Progress compounds because your mind is uninterrupted. That is the state where destiny is built. But break that state every 5 minutes to check a message, to glance at what someone else is doing, to consume meaningless content, and that flow collapses. You reset. You start again. You never reach the depth where breakthroughs happen. And this is why distraction is so dangerous. It doesn't just waste time, it destroys depth. It prevents you from entering the space where true growth occurs. A distracted mind is shallow, and a shallow mind cannot build a deep life. You have to understand that distraction is not random. It is designed. The world is full of systems built to hijack your focus because your attention is the most valuable resource you own. Entire industries thrive on your inability to concentrate. They profit when you are distracted. That means if you don't take control of your focus, the world will gladly control it for you. Your destiny requires you to fight back, to build boundaries, to create environments where your vision can breathe without constant interruption, to train your mind to resist the dopamine rush of every little notification and instead channel that energy into something that matters. Because destiny requires discipline, and discipline cannot coexist with constant distraction. Every great accomplishment in history required periods of deep focus, seasons where distraction was cut away. Writers who locked themselves in rooms to create the works that shaped generations. Inventors who isolated themselves to solve problems no one else could see. Leaders who spent hours reflecting and strategizing without the noise of the world pressing in on them. They understood that if you want to touch your destiny, you must give it undivided attention. You cannot half focus your way to greatness. You cannot multitask your way into fulfillment. You cannot live distracted and expect to discover purpose. Distraction and destiny are opposites. You cannot serve both, and distraction doesn't only come from technology. It comes from people too. The wrong conversations, the wrong environments, the wrong influences can all keep you from your path. People who don't believe in your vision, who constantly pull you into drama, who waste your time with negativity, they are distractions disguised as relationships. If you are serious about your destiny, you have to learn to say no, to protect your space, to surround yourself only with people and environments that feed your focus instead of fragmenting it. Every yes to distraction is a no to destiny. Every time you indulge in what doesn't matter, you are postponing what does. And the truth is, you don't have forever to postpone. Time is moving whether you use it wisely or not. Destiny is waiting, but it won't wait forever. To master distraction, you must create systems that force your focus. You must design habits and rituals that channel your energy where it belongs. Simple things like starting your day without reaching for your phone, dedicating blocks of time to deep work, eliminating the clutter from your environment, practicing mindfulness. These are not small things. They are weapons in the battle against distraction, because every moment you reclaim from distraction is a moment you reinvest in destiny. Over time, those moments stack. They become days of progress, weeks of momentum, years of transformation. What once felt impossible suddenly becomes inevitable because you remove the enemy that was holding you back all along, and the more you cut away distraction, the more clarity you gain. Destiny becomes visible when your mind is not clouded by noise. You begin to see patterns, opportunities, solutions that were always there but hidden under layers of unnecessary stimulation. Clarity creates conviction, and conviction fuels action. But if you are constantly distracted, you never reach clarity, and without clarity, you drift. Drifting is the silent killer of potential. You wake up one day and realize years have passed, and you are no closer to your vision because you let distraction steal the moments that could have built it. The truth is, You are either feeding your destiny or feeding your distractions. Every choice, every decision, every habit moves you closer to one and further from the other. You cannot do both. If you are serious about your life, if you are committed to your vision, you must declare war on distraction. You must see it for what it is, the enemy that robs you of time, energy, clarity, and depth. And you must be ruthless in cutting it away because your destiny depends on it. Self-mastery is the foundation of success, because no matter what you want to achieve, no matter how big your dreams are, no matter how ambitious your goals may be, everything comes back to whether you can control yourself. Success is not about controlling the world. It's about controlling your mind, your habits, your emotions, your actions. If you can master yourself, there is nothing you cannot build, but if you cannot master yourself, even the greatest opportunities will slip through your hands. Think about it. Discipline, consistency, resilience, these are not things you borrow from outside. These are things that are built within. Your ability to stay committed when it's hard, your ability to push forward when you don't feel like it, your ability to regulate your emotions when life throws chaos at you, these are the qualities that separate those who achieve greatness from those who only dream about it. Self-mastery is not glamorous, but it is the soil from which every form of success grows. When you look at the most accomplished people in any field, what you're really seeing is the result of mastery over daily choices. You're seeing someone who learned how to manage their time instead of wasting it, who learned how to train their body instead of neglecting it, who learned how to discipline their thoughts instead of letting them run wild. Success is the visible fruit, but self-mastery is the invisible root. Without roots, fruit doesn't last. Without self-mastery, success collapses the moment pressure arrives, and pressure always arrives. That's why so many people get what they want for a short while but cannot sustain it. They win for a moment, but lose it just as fast because they never built mastery within themselves. The body wasn't strong enough to carry the weight. The mind wasn't trained enough to handle the pressure. The habits weren't consistent enough to sustain growth. It's not the opportunity that was lacking. It's the foundation. Self-mastery starts with health because your body is the vehicle through which you experience everything else. You cannot build massive success with no energy, with a body that is breaking down, with habits that drain you instead of fuel you. When you master your health, when you fuel your body with the right food, when you train it with movement, when you give it rest, you are creating the energy and stamina required to pursue greatness. Without health, everything else becomes harder. With health, everything else becomes possible. But mastery does not stop with the body. It extends into the mind. The mind is a battlefield, constantly under attack from fear, doubt, anxiety, negativity. If you cannot master your thoughts, they will master you. You must learn to feed your mind with strength, with empowering beliefs, with focus. You must train it to silence the noise and hold firm to your vision, even when the outside world tells you it's impossible. That is the discipline of the mind, and without it, success remains fragile. Habits are another cornerstone of self-mastery. What you do consistently builds who you become. Habits are not just actions, they are systems that shape your destiny. A single decision repeated daily becomes a ritual, and rituals compound into results. If your habits are weak, your results will be weak. If your habits are strong, your results will be strong. Self-mastery is about choosing habits that align with your highest vision and cutting out the habits that sabotage it. It's about having the discipline to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. That is where most people fail. They are controlled by moods and feelings instead of principles and discipline. Self-mastery flips that. You act not because you feel like it, but because it's who you are and because it's what's required to build the life you want. You do the work whether or not motivation is present. You show up because consistency is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Emotions are another frontier of mastery. Success will test you. Life will test you. There will be setbacks, failures, rejection, stress. If you cannot master your emotions, they will derail you at every obstacle. Anger, fear, frustration, doubt. If you let them control you, you will quit when you should push. You will lash out when you should stay calm. You will hesitate when you should act. Self-mastery does not mean you never feel these emotions. It means you feel them, but you don't let them dictate your choices. You recognize them, process them, and then return to your vision. That emotional resilience is what keeps people moving forward while others break down. It's not about being cold or robotic. It's about being centered, balanced, rooted in something stronger than momentary feelings. Because feelings change, but vision stays. If you can master your emotions, you can stay steady in storms that sink other people. The deeper you go into self-mastery, the more freedom you create. Most people think discipline is restriction, but discipline is freedom because it frees you from being a slave to your impulses. Most people think structure is prison, but structure is power because it allows you to channel your time and energy where it matters instead of wasting it. Self-mastery is not about living a smaller life, it's about building the capacity to live a bigger one. Without it, you're at the mercy of circumstance. With it, you become the architect of your future. It's the foundation of confidence too, because true confidence is not pretending to believe in yourself. It's knowing you can rely on yourself. When you know you'll keep the promises you make to yourself, when you know you'll follow through regardless of how you feel, when you know you can face challenges and not crumble, that's confidence, and it can't be faked. That confidence comes only from self-mastery. Look at anyone you admire, anyone who has built something lasting and meaningful, and underneath it all you will find self-mastery. You will find routines, rituals, discipline, consistency. You will find someone who has trained themselves to act in alignment with their vision instead of being swayed by every distraction, temptation, or difficulty. And here's the truth, self-mastery is not a one-time achievement. It is a lifelong practice. It's not about being perfect. It's about being committed. It's about getting back on track every time you fall off. It's about sharpening yourself daily, improving inch by inch, building layer by layer. Over time, those inches turn into miles, those small acts of mastery turn into extraordinary results, and the person who once struggled to control themselves becomes the person who commands their destiny. Self-mastery is the foundation, and everything else in your life is built upon it. The world rewards direction, not distraction, because direction creates momentum, and momentum creates results, while distraction keeps you circling in the same place with nothing to show for your effort. Success does not come from being busy, it comes from being aligned. So many people confuse activity with achievement, but activity without direction is nothing more than motion without progress. You can run hard, you can work long hours, you can keep yourself occupied from sunrise to midnight, but if there is no clear direction, all that energy leaks into nothingness. The people who rise, the people who create, the people who lead, they are not necessarily the ones who work the most. They are the ones who channel their work toward a specific vision. They know where they are going. They know what matters. They know what deserves their time and what doesn't. And because they have direction, every ounce of their energy compounds, every step moves them forward, every effort adds up to something meaningful. Distraction, on the other hand, is the great deceiver. It tricks you into feeling like you are doing something when in reality you are doing nothing. Checking notifications, jumping from task to task, saying yes to everything, allowing your time to be consumed by the trivial instead of invested in the essential. This is how distraction eats away at lives. The danger of distraction is that it doesn't always feel destructive. It often feels urgent, sometimes even important, but at the end of the day, it leaves you empty. Direction, however, brings clarity. When you have direction, you know what to say yes to and what to say no to. You know what to give your attention to and what to ignore. You know which path is yours and which is not. Direction turns chaos into order, turns overwhelm into strategy, turns confusion into certainty. That is why the world rewards those who have it. Think about a ship at sea. A ship with a clear destination can weather storms, adjust its sails, navigate obstacles, and still arrive where it is supposed to go. A ship without direction, no matter how sturdy, no matter how powerful, will drift endlessly, tossed around by the wind, controlled by the current, at the mercy of circumstance. That is what life without direction looks like. You drift, you react instead of create, you survive instead of thrive. But the moment you set a direction, the moment you lock in on a vision, everything changes. You move from being pulled by life to pulling life in the direction you want to go. The same waves that once tossed you become the waves that carry you. The same winds that once blew you off course become the winds that push you forward because you now know where you're headed. Direction transforms obstacles into stepping stones because when you have a clear destination, even setbacks become part of the path. The reason the world rewards direction is because people are drawn to clarity. Nobody follows confusion. Nobody invests in uncertainty. People are inspired by those who know where they're going. Opportunities flow to those who radiate certainty. Success compounds for those who commit to a path and keep moving forward no matter what. Even if you don't have all the answers, even if you don't see the entire staircase, having direction and taking consistent steps creates trust, belief, and momentum. On the other hand, distraction signals weakness. It tells the world you can't decide, you can't commit, you can't focus. And the world does not reward that. The world does not hand power to the distracted. It hands it to the directed, the ones who stand firm in their vision and walk boldly toward it every single day. But having direction requires courage because it means saying no to distraction. It means saying no to paths that look good but don't align. It means resisting the temptation to do what is easy instead of what is essential. It means cutting away noise, ignoring opinions, and sometimes walking alone. Many people avoid choosing a direction because they fear making the wrong choice, so they drift instead. But drifting is the worst choice of all, because while you hesitate, time keeps moving. Direction is not about perfection. It is about commitment. You can always adjust your course, refine your path, pivot when necessary. But you cannot adjust what doesn't exist. You cannot pivot from nowhere. That is why those with direction always get further than those without. Even if they start imperfectly, even if they stumble, they are moving, learning, growing. While the distracted are still standing still, distraction is seductive because it is endless. There will always be another opportunity, another invitation, another shiny object, another demand on your time. If you try to chase them all, you will catch none. Direction requires discipline to shut those doors and lock in on what matters most. It demands that you invest deeply in fewer things instead of scattering yourself across many. And when you do, your results multiply because energy concentrated is infinitely more powerful than energy scattered. Just like sunlight diffused across a room warms it gently, but sunlight concentrated through a lens can ignite fire. Your energy scattered across distractions does little. But your energy concentrated through direction can change everything. That is why the world rewards direction, because direction creates impact, and impact is what moves the world forward. Every story of greatness is a story of direction. The athlete who chooses a sport and trains relentlessly instead of dabbling in everything. The entrepreneur who commits to one vision and pours their heart into it instead of chasing every new idea. The artist who hones their craft day after day instead of being distracted by what is trending at first. Their path may look narrow compared to others who seem to be everywhere, doing everything, but in the long run, the ones with direction rise because while the distracted were scattered, they were building depth. And depth is what creates mastery, and mastery is what creates rewards. The world eventually notices the ones who stay committed, who don't give in to every temptation, who don't lose themselves in noise. The world cannot ignore direction. If you want your life to change, you have to decide what direction you're going in and then give yourself fully to it. Stop waiting for perfect clarity. Stop waiting for everything to line up. Stop thinking you need to have the whole map. You don't. You just need a compass, a vision, a destination that matters to you. And then you must protect that direction like your life depends on it, because it does. Your destiny is built on direction, and every time you trade direction for distraction, you delay it. Every time you indulge in what doesn't matter, you push back what does. But every time you choose direction over distraction, you accelerate, you move forward. You separate yourself from the majority who are drifting. You become part of the few who are building. And those are the ones the world rewards